Hi, this is Tammy, and I am making Martin Midlife's Adventures bread. So I have all my dry ingredients here, and I just did whisked it up with my whisk. Nothing fancy, just like a plain whisk. And then I also put my instant yeast and water, warm water in here, and I also whisk that up. So I do my dry ingredients in one bowl, my wet ingredients in another, and then I just put the wet in with the dry. And then it also calls for 4 tablespoons of oil. So this is when I add the oil, and I will list all the ingredients below. Three tablespoons. All right. And then I just throw everything in the sink when I'm done so I can wash it. All right, so I have this cutting board here just so that I can mix it up. But what I do is I get it somewhat mixed up, and then I get my hands in there because I don't have a mixer. I don't have a KitchenAid. This is all by hand. So I should have put my sleeves up a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna kind of start mixing it up. And when you don't have an electric mixer, they say to knead this for like 8 minutes or until your hands get tired, right? And it forms like a nice bowl. A nice round ball is what I meant to say. In my bowl. And then if you just need more room than this, that's why I have this out. So that I can kind of fold it over and just keep kneading it. Again, this process is going to take a good couple minutes, so we'll pause you and come back. Okay, so after I kneaded it up, and the only advice I would say is don't flour your board because you kind of do want it a little wet while you're forming it, and the flour just kind of added more flour into this recipe, and you want to be pretty precise, in my opinion, with your recipe. So anyways, once you're done kind of kneading it for 8 minutes, you just want to kind of form it into a ball, and then I'm going to add a little bit of flour on top. I'm going to put it back into my bowl, cover it with a tea towel, and then I'm going to check back. I'm going to check back in just a couple minutes and check on it, and then I'm going to let it sit and rise for, some recipes say 1 hour, some say 2. I'm just gonna go in between an hour and a half and just go from there. Okay, so my dough has been sitting for a few minutes, and this is some advice I've gotten on another channel, is after you make your ball, you take it out, put it down, and I put a little bit of flour here, and you kind of just form it basically into a better ball. So I'm gonna start out doing this, and then I'm just gonna start folding it and forming it into a better ball basically. The ingredients are a little different on the other video that I follow, so I don't really know if this step with this recipe is really needed, but it's supposed to help your bread form and stay together basically. So I'm just gonna do that. And then again, just make it into a nice ball, round shape, I guess. And then that's it. So now I'm going to let that sit for at least an hour. Sprinkle a little more flour on top. Put your tea towel over it. And then we'll be back to form it again into the bread loaf shape. Okay, so we're back, and it's been about an hour and 45 minutes actually. So let's see, put the bread looks like. Oh, I'm so excited. It totally raised up, looks absolutely amazing. So now we are going to do the last shaping before we put it into the bread pan, which I've already sprayed some nonstick spray. Actually, usually I like to just use actual butter. I just dip a napkin into the butter and I spread it all over, but anyways, I'm doing it this way for now. Okay, so taking the bread out onto a floured board. Now the way that I normally do this, I kind of want to do it a little different. So flatten out your bread. And the way I normally do it is I kind of stretch it out in the middle, I fold it over, and I roll it up. But this time I'm gonna kind of do it the way she barely messes with the bread. She kind of just lets it be. So I'm gonna kind of do it her way. And you want it to be almost as wide as your pan because it's gonna go into that next. So flatten it out. And then I'm just going to roll it really tight. This isn't how I normally do it. So it's, I think that's long enough actually. And then when you get to the end, I'm gonna pinch it together. So it stays together. Just pinch it on the seams. And then there's some bubbles in it. And then I am going to put all the ends in the flour, including like the long side you just saw me do. Okay, and I'm gonna put it into my, see, I think I made it a little too long, but that's okay. I'm gonna kind of flatten it out a little bit in here. And then that's it, just very little. And then I'm going to let this set now for 45 minutes to an hour, again, under a tea towel. And then while I do that, I will clean up all this mess because the next step is I'm gonna put it into an oven that I'm gonna preheat at 350, and then I'm gonna bake it for 25 to 30 minutes. Again, every person's oven's different, so you'll just have to check on it and we'll just go to the next step. So we'll come back in about a half hour, or sorry, 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, it has been 1 hour. I put the oven on at 350. My gosh, this looks so good. It rised just perfectly. So a little trick I do is I pull the top rack out of my oven so that when I put this in and it raises up, it's not too close to like the burners. It's not too close to the top and it doesn't burn any of the top part. So I take the top off and I use this as the cooling rack and put this in the oven. It's supposed to be in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. It just depends on your oven. So I'm gonna do 25 minutes. My oven cooks pretty hot. And then I'll just check it. And then I'll show you what it looks like after. I always, I'll put it here when it's done. I'll take it out of the pan and I'll butter the top to keep it moist. That's another little trick I got from another channel. I'm really excited to show you what this looks like and eat homemade bread. So I will come back here in 25 minutes. Okay, my timer just went off. This was 25 minutes. I'm just gonna usually check to see if it's like, I think if I need maybe, I think it's good. I think I'm just gonna leave it as is. Okay, so here's the last little trick. Got a little bit of butter and you're just gonna put it right on top. Just spread it on there. It's not a lot. And my whole house smells amazing, by the way. And it's gonna give it kind of like a nice shine too. And then I will take it out of this container. and I'll let it cool on the cooling rack for at least 20 minutes to a half hour, but you can see it looks amazing, and I am so excited to slice this up and eat it. Okay, I really wanted to show what it looked like completely out, so that is what it looks like. I put butter on the top. I'm gonna let this cool off. It's hard to see with the lighting in here, this side. I'm gonna let this cool off right here for 20 to 30 minutes before I do anything with it. And doesn't that look amazing? I mean, it looks like store-bought bread, and it smells amazing. I'm so excited. And thank you so much for sharing this recipe on your page. And I'm glad to share it